What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I have a Social Security update for you guys. We're going to take a look and a listen to Mr. Goss. He's going to be talking about Social Security reform. He is actually the chief actuary for the Social Security Administration. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification, clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And one more way to support us is by joining our membership. Just click the join button below. You'll get customized emojis as well as custom badges. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look and a listen to Mr. Goss. He is the chief actuary. So he goes over all the numbers. He's the expert in that field. So when they're talking about reforming Social Security, they're talking about all these different proposals, he's the one that can let you know what, this can work or this will not work, and these are the reasons why. So let's go ahead and take a look and a listen to Mr. Goss. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Chairman Ferguson, Ranking Member Larson, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you today about Social Security's program, past, present, and future. Social Security started paying monthly benefits, as you all well know, to qualifying retired workers and family members and survivors in 1940. Benefits to disabled workers and their families started in 1957. Over the 85 years through 2024, all scheduled benefits have been paid in full and on time. Social Security provides this fundamental insurance against loss of earned income.
Billionaires and billionaires.
Percent of the population, 40.
And billionaires just pay their
40.
Director of the Congressional Budget Office. And Barry Houston is an analyst of Social Security policy at the Congressional Research Service. Thank you all once again for being here. Look forward to have your remarks. You will have 5 minutes to deliver the oral remarks. Mr. Goss, you are now recognized.
Thank you very much, Chairman Ferguson, Ranking Member Larson, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you today about Social Security's program, past, present, and future. Social Security started paying monthly benefits, as you all well know, to qualifying retired workers and family members and survivors in 1940. Benefits to disabled workers and their families started in 1957. Over the 85 years through 2024, all scheduled benefits have been paid in full and on time. Social Security provides this fundamental insurance against loss of earned income due to old age, disability, and death for nearly all current and past workers and their families. Today, over 67 million people receive monthly benefits from the SSDI program, nearly 20% of the population, at a cost of 5.2% of GDP. By 2060, SSDI program cost is projected to rise to a stable roughly 6.1% of GDP, with over 23% of the population then expected to be receiving monthly benefits. But currently scheduled tax income remains at only 4.6% of GDP, so we have a shortfall to deal with. Over the 75 years as a whole, the unfunded obligation, the shortfall that we have over the period over the next 75 years, is 1.2% of GDP. We need to get these things back in balance. At the start of 2024, reserves in the combined OSI and DI trust funds total $2.8 trillion, nearly double the amount of annual payments. So our contingency reserve fund is strong at the moment. However, revenues to the combined OSI and DI trust funds are projected to be less than program cost in 2024, as they have been since 2010. In future years, under the intermediate projections for the 2024 Trustees Report. So combined OSI and DI reserves would become depleted in June of 2035. That is 13 months later than projected in last year's report, but it is still on the horizon. At that time, 83% of the scheduled benefits would still be payable. For the OSI trust fund alone.
Okay, so I don't want this to get lost. So he was talking about, and this is the report that they put out in May. He was talking about the trust funds, okay? So he was saying the trust funds would be completely depleted by 2035, okay? So it used to be 2033 or 2034. He says it's been extended for about 13 months, and the reason for that is because of the economy. The economy is doing well. If the economy is doing well, that means you have more people working. If you have more people working, they are contributing. They're paying into that payroll contribution, and all of that money is going to Social Security Administration, and they're paying out benefits with that money. So if you have a strong workforce, you don't have to draw as much money from the trust fund, because remember, everything, all the money that's coming from the payroll contribution goes out to Social Security beneficiaries every month. And then they still need to pull a little bit from the trust funds, and that's what they're doing. But if you have that strong workforce, you have more money going to the people who are receiving Social Security benefits, and so you don't have to pull as much out of the trust fund. And so that's why we see that extension of about 13 months. Now, that's not enough. Obviously, we need to reform Social Security, so there's a lot of work to do, but I just wanted to kind of explain that because I didn't want that to get lost in this situation where people don't really understand what he's talking about, 2035, 2034, 2033, what are all these numbers? The reason why he's saying it's been extended is because of the economy.
Loan, which is a separate legal entity, it is projected to become depleted in its reserves in November of 2033, 7 months later than last year's report. Again, an incremental change, with 79% of scheduled benefits then payable from that fund alone. The DI Trust Fund is in good shape and not projecting to have issues under the current projections through 2100 and beyond. Now, improvement in the 2024 trustees report is due to better than expected economic growth in 2023, a very good thing, and recognition of continued high labor productivity and employment levels through 2023 and expected to go on for the future. In addition, lower disability incidence and prevalence rates have continued. We do have on the horizon issues with the birth rate to be dealt with, obviously. Our projected annual shortfall for income to cover program cost should come as no surprise. The trustees have projected combined OESDI trust fund reserve depletion will occur between 2033 and 2035 for the last 13 years reports, and between 2029 and 2042 for the last 34 trustees reports. The fundamental challenge of the changing age distribution of the adult population due to reduction in birth rates after 1965 was well known even in 1983, at the time of the last major amendments for this program. The 1983 amendment.
So another important thing, they knew back in 1983 when they reformed Social Security that we would be facing these problems that we're facing right now with the trust funds about being depleted in about 10 to 11 years. So they already knew that back in 1983, but the reforms that they made in 1983 couldn't push us past this point. Okay, so I think they got us, 40, 50 years, but they couldn't get us past that point. Or maybe let's even say 60 years. So a 60-year expansion of Social Security or extension to Social Security benefits. But now we need to do another 65 to 75 years, so we have to reform Social Security again. That's the whole reason. But they knew it back in 1983. They could have done something back in 1983 to assure that we had Social Security benefits and we would see no cuts in the future, but they chose not to do that. They just wanted to address certain things. We know in 1983, part of what they did is, what do? Raise the full retirement age a couple of years from 65 to 67.
Amendments intended to accumulate substantial trust fund reserves, making full payment of scheduled benefits possible for decades to come. But these amendments were understood at that time not to be a permanent solution. Prior to the 1983 amendments, income was expected to cover only 93% of program cost for the year 1983, declining to 78% of scheduled cost for 2025. After the enactment of the 1983 amendments, tax income was projected to exceed program cost through 2020, but to cover only 93% of scheduled benefits for 2025, a year yet to come, declining to 86.5% by 2035, with trust fund reserves becoming depleted not until 2063 under those projections. However, annual tax income fell short of expectations after 1983 and fell below annual program cost starting in 2010 for two big reasons that had not been anticipated back in 1983. First, the share of covered earnings subject to the payroll tax declined from 90% in 1983, which is expected to persist, to just 82.5% over the next 17 years, by the year 2000, because average earnings grew much, much greater, by 62% more than inflation for the highest 6% of earners between 1983 and 2000, where the average wage grew by only 17% for the other 94% of workers across that period. Second, the deep recession of 2007 to 9, with only a very gradual 10-year recovery, reduced employment and earnings for a decade, causing us not to have the buildup of reserves that was expected. As a result, trust fund reserves did not accumulate to the level expected in '83, and our scheduled cost at this point is projected to cover, our revenues to cover only about 86% of scheduled cost in 2025, declining to 84% by 2035. The combined OESDI reserves are now projected to become depleted in 2035, almost 30 years earlier than 1983, for the two reasons already mentioned.
Mr. Goss, we've allowed you a little latitude to go over by about a minute, and if we could, I'm going to get you to yield. Try to keep everybody on the 5-minute clock, and I'm sure we get into more of this really important information through member questions. With that,
all right. So that was Mr. Goss talking about Social Security reform and what we need to see in the future. Now, I know there was a lot of stuff that kind of went over my head as well, just listening to him talk, but he will explain things further when they ask questions. So they had to, you saw the chairman had to kind of cut him off in mid sentence there. So we'll find out a little bit more of how he feels about what needs to happen to reform Social Security, provide expansions and things like that in the future. So we'll listen to that. I'll be doing some videos on that as well. But overall, what you see is back in 1983, I think the main key here is back in 1983, they did see that this would be a problem. However, they were anticipating that it wouldn't be as soon as it is now. And there were a few reasons that he explained why we saw why we're seeing the trust fund having issues right now. So that was anticipated back then, but they thought they would have another 30 years, and obviously we're not looking at another 30 years. We're only looking at another 10 to 11 years. So I want to know what you guys think about all this. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And one more thing before we go, make sure you go to our petition. I will have that information. So in the comment section, it'll be pinned at the very top. Click on that link. It'll take you over to our petition demanding an increase for Social Security benefits. That's all I have. Subscribe for more. Talk to you in the next one. Bye.